insurance agent that you want to go to Fix Auto.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shop with a rec spot.
You visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA Store for the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more. Log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station. KBLA 1580.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shop with a rec spot. Gotta stay fresh, my house shop with a rec spot. Gotta stay fresh, my house shop with a rec spot. Gotta stay fresh, my house shop with a rec spot. Gotta stay fresh, my house shop with a rec spot. Gotta stay fresh, my house shop with a rec spot. Gotta stay fresh, my house shop with a rec spot. Gotta stay fresh, my house shop with a rec spot. Gotta stay fresh, my
And we are vibing, entering into the third hour of RSVP. We are continuing the conversation with Eric Ashton. Eric, we were just about to get into some tech. Well, we did talk about some tech, how to open up the conversation. But you were about to share with me about your mother's book.
Yes. So it's literally in line with what we just talked about. So I don't have a book out yet. But, however, my mom, she's a counselor, social worker, coach herself.
So you got it honest. This is a natural extension of family. So you grew up in a healthy environment, and that is why you were able to take all of this in and sort of sort this out. Okay.
Yeah, so I got some help.
Okay.
But my mom's new book is called That's Not Who I Am. I know better than that. It's an introspection that can help you identify and lead the children of life. It's a self-help workbook. So this is a self-help workbook. Basically, it literally covers everything from relationships, finance, depression, grief, joy, marriage, sexual health, love. I mean, there's so many things in this book, and it literally allows you to journal. So if you're a person who journals, you can literally day by day journal. It asks you questions, so there's a questionnaire in here that asks you questions about yourself. And you do a self-introspection look at yourself. And then you actually journal those things and it's inside of this book. And this is actually your own self-introspective journal in the book. So it's pretty amazing. So it's available everywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, everywhere books are sold. We want people to actually go to my Instagram page, I have a link in my bio where you can purchase it directly.
Okay. So I will put it in chat, but Eric after is his Instagram. Make sure you're hitting that up regardless, because you're going to want to keep up with him. I know that. I feel that. So let's talk a little bit more about the series and depression and suicide and these important conversations that you're having with me. What is it that you think has been the most important takeaway, or at least one of them, in these conversations?
The most important takeaway so far has been every man that I talk to, they're like, somebody says, finally, somebody speaks for us, or somebody says something. Because I think all men are just screaming, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, for this time. They don't, see, men don't have a voice. We don't have an emotional voice anymore. Men don't have a spiritual voice anymore. We don't have a...
Well, okay, let me ask you about that. You said men don't have a spiritual voice, but most of the leaders, spiritual leaders, are male. And that is where average person who thinks average just plays like Coach and think of a TV host, or Ray Robert Stevens, of sort of those spiritual leaders, especially in the black community, those generally been male. So how is it, and I'm not challenging you, just curious, your thoughts on how you feel as though they don't have a spiritual voice.
Very specifically, everything I love Bishop J. So everybody follow his messages for 7 years. He would be one of the few exceptions. But in general, majority-wise, I would say, the black church male leaders are now vulnerable, good fathers. You hear them preach, you hear them teach from a theological standpoint. You hear them talk about the community, the needs of the people. But when was the last time you saw or heard a black female preacher, teacher, leader be vulnerable about their lives openly?
You really haven't been that. But is it because I think one of the things that is hard with, I'm going to say Christianity, you know, put it in that way, as black people, it's that, we know that religion is used to judge and to push idealism on certain people to direct, you know, not always in the way that it's intended to. But I think within the black community, there definitely is you're on this side and you're on this side. Even, you know, even though there's more of a blending now and it's more so open, I still think there very much is you're doing that, you are over there and we're not accepting of you. We say we accept all, but really, you gonna come over here with that? Really? You know, it's the good thing, it's the things that we talk about that hurt, but ultimately we need that openness.
But it's unfortunate, you're right, it's unfortunate because it's exactly what you're talking about, which is the normal religious reaction to anyone who doesn't live up to this perfect image that is rooted inside of the church. Then they're shunned away, they're rejected, they're pushed away from good. But rather, what we should be doing is having a conversation about it. Innocent, open, so that there's an understanding that comes, and that would show more compassion, and more people say, okay, you know what, this is beyond that. These people do understand. Well, we may not all agree on everything, but at least we have a conversation that says somebody cares. I think that religion taking the approach of condemnation, rejection, push away, shun. With religion taking that stance, I think that is doing the opposite effect. The church should have more influence in these areas that they don't have today. And it's because so many people have been shunned away, pushed away, rejected because they didn't live up to this perfect image that is painted in the church. And our leaders don't live up to those images either.
Absolutely. I have a friend that grew up in the church, and she would always say that there was a certain point in her life that she felt that God was unaffected the way that he was being presented. So I think that is why your platform and the way that you're doing that is so important, because church can be very intimidating. And no matter, I also think that there is a certain protocol that people are comfortable with as far as church, as far as the way that it's set up and the way that it should look. And we see some sort of outside areas that, you know, we are being more tolerant on, for lack of a better term, and more open. But that is the benefit of having a platform like yours. So what have you sort of learned, or what have you taken in through that process of being able to talk to people outside of conventional, sort of, you know, what you would have done, what you say on the other path?
What I'm learning is that everything that I went through, personally, spiritually, emotionally, all the pain, all the effort that I went through, everything I now have the compassion and the capacity to talk to anybody. And so, when I'm out in the world, I can have an impact because my agenda, my intention is to love them unconditionally. Wherever they are, whatever they're doing. Because that's what Jesus did. And so, with that understanding, my mental capacity is wide open. I'm hearing all types of things. I'm physically opening my mind up to all types of things. But my core values and my foundation is still the same. I don't waver in that. I just open up my heart to all people. And it seems that religion doesn't help.
How many episodes have you done?
Like I told you earlier, from one day to the next, I could be anywhere and not know who I'm going to meet, what's going to happen, what I'm going to encounter. I just know that what I'm bringing to the table is pure, is genuine. I'm integral in what I bring. I'm just being stretched, and I'm out of my comfort zone, and it's a great thing. Sometimes a scary thing, but I'm made for it, and I'm excited about it.
So you're an actor. Does your spirituality guide you in the type of projects you participate in? Are there, things that you're just like, that doesn't feel good to me, or I don't think that is a message that I want to be involved in, even though we know it's pretend, it's acting, and all of those things. Do you come up against those type of conflicts?
I have in the past. There were some things that have come to me that I actually considered. And, let me become my spiritual advisor real quick, just for a second. Uh-huh. And I'm all about, energy is real. And even as an actor, you have to spiritually take on a character for it to really manifest itself. And so for me, because of who I am spiritually and what I carry and what I do with people, I have to really guard it and be careful about what I take on as an actor. If I do want to take something on, I have to really be careful about what I take on, because I'm allowing that into my domain and my spirit. And I have to sleep with that,
right.
And I have to meditate in it and be in it. And so there's been times opportunities have come my way, and I said yes, and God said no.
Okay.
So that's happened to me several times where I was trying to say yes, and God was like, no.
Nope.
And he let me get all the way. I do the callbacks, I do the whole process, and then it's like, it stops.
It's up there.
Yeah.
Andy, you have something to say?
Yeah, man, I just have a question for you.
Yes.
I'm sure you heard about Damson Idris.
I was just about to ask that. We are
Jill,
connected. No, go, Andy, because you brought it up. I love it.
You being a spiritual man, you being an actor or whatnot, Damson Idris, what was it, like a month ago or whatnot, admitted to the fact how he was summoning the devil because, I guess he had some block going on, and how he was haunted, and he had to go ahead and call on Jesus just to, remove all this stuff. What's your take on that?
When I saw only saw a small clip of the video on social media at the time, I wasn't surprised when I heard what he said, because he was having this block on set. When you sign a contract to be an actor on that level, you got to bring it, And so he's like, I'm not getting this character. It's not manifesting. And so he summoned something very dark to manifest that character in the way the director wanted. Now, but I'm thinking to myself, at what cost? Now, I believe he stated that he had nightmares for weeks or months after that, that he couldn't shake. For me, to answer the question, I would never allow something like that to happen because of who I am spiritually. I would tell any actor this: you are opening yourself up to a dimension spiritually that could potentially follow you the rest of your life. It's not worth it.
We see like Heath Ledger.
Yes. And this is now we're getting into my spiritual stuff that I sit down with and I do with actors now. I didn't plan to do this on the mic, but so basically, for anybody, whether you're an actor or not, but in particular, actors go through these things. You're opening yourself up to a dimension in the spirit that summons things to you. They come in your dreams. They come into your life. It's real. They manifest themselves. And so when you've opened yourself up to that, there's no guarantee that you're going to get rid of that, And this thing could it can go as deep as taunting your children. It could cause havoc in your life. It could cause strange occurrences in your life. These are doors and portals that you don't want open because they're not for us. Yeah.
So what happens, I mean, in a situation like this with Damson, and I'll actually have you, I'm going to pose the question, and when we come forward, I will have you answer it. But in a situation like that, he had been on the show at this point for 5 seasons or something, and the character and the script and the arc took this turn. He couldn't have known when he took this role what they had planned as far as the character and the development, especially, you know, with those type of things. So in situations like that, how do you protect yourself? You're locked into a contract. We're going to talk about that and more when we come forward. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe. We are sitting here with Eric Ashton Spooner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms: irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Where are we on the lineup?
It's official. Avery is producing Main Street Music Days.
We need to be ready. We're going to have lots of people. What's the status on the new sound engineer?
They need an audio technician to keep things level from sound checks to encores.
Make sure audio from one stage does not compete with another.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are checking in with RSVP, and we are having a fascinating conversation with Eric Ashton Spooner. Now, before we went to break, I was asking Eric about what happens when you maybe get a role and it starts off as one way, but the arc of the show, you know, different things happen. New showrunners, new writers, new directors come in, and it takes a dark turn. How do you protect yourself? How do you protect your essence? And then I have a follow-up question that we were kind of talking about off air after that.
You know, how do you protect your essence? In the example that we just used with what's his name?
Damson Idris.
Damson Idris. He summoned something very dark to help him produce something for that role. If I were in his shoes and I had already signed the contract, and I'm in this thing. I have to do this. I have used spiritual encounters that I've had that were godly, that were good, to produce the same energy, the same illusion, so to speak. You don't have to summon things that are dark to produce an illusion for a role. You can summon something that's good, to summon the same illusion, so to speak, if you understand what I'm saying.
It makes perfect sense. And we also, kind of along those lines, we're talking about, we always have conversations in general, not you and I, but we will now, about what we consume and what we are taking in. So how do you sort of protect yourself? Like, content is entertaining. We don't necessarily align with everything that we watch. We're watching it to be entertained or as a distraction. But sometimes some of those things can implant themselves in your subconscious. So how do you sort of, the older folks would say, the elders, just stay prayed up and avoid it. But how do you make sure that, because we're being assaulted with all types of, deep topics, things that not even just on the surface are evil in the traditional sense, but just, things that can wear down your soul.
Yeah.
So what type of things do you suggest that people do to sort of keep themselves intact or bring themselves back to center?
Stand in your truth. Stand in the truth. Know who you are and don't waver. Even if things are coming at us from social media, from television, from even just, in the last few years, we saw so much hatred come over the election and, the divisiveness and all the things that were going on in the country to divide people based on race and color and ethnicity or whatever. You can choose to participate or not. You know what I mean? Based on your core value and who you are and what you stand on and, the character of who you are. You can choose to participate in that or not. It's based on who you are on the inside, if that thing is going to stay with you or not, Yeah.
So I think kind of changing topics, but related, I think that everyone would probably do well to have a bit of therapy, just, to work some things out or whatever. So what would you say are your top 3 tips for sort of coming back to center, making sure that you're spiritually balanced, and especially for people who may not, be so-called religious, but they are spiritual, or at least they want to, connect more with that aspect of themselves, but maybe have a distaste for the religious aspect?
I would say even if you're not connected to what we would say an organized religion or institution called the church, so to speak, if you're not involved in that institution or that religious system, so to speak, you should still have a spiritual practice. Every human being needs a spiritual practice because we are 3-dimensional beings. We're spirit, soul, and body. And so you can feed the body and nourish the body, but be brokenhearted, and that means your soul needs to be nourished and fed. And so definitely have a spiritual practice that you go to every day. That could be spending time alone with God, spending time in quiet, journaling, reading, praying. That's, have something spiritual that you can go to gird and strengthen yourself on a daily basis. Number 2, I would say have accountability. I think accountability, for everybody is needed, but have somebody in your life who you can bounce off of or talk to. And sometimes it may have to be therapy. Some people go to therapy just to talk. There's talk therapy. And that could be another area that keeps you strengthened, keeps your mind focused, lets you cleanse all of that trauma and that dirt and those wounds and that pain. That stuff stays trapped in you. You got to get that stuff out. You can use therapy. Some people may not be able to afford therapy. Have someone in your life, a best friend or a family member or a colleague or someone that you could talk to. And I'm encouraging this for a lot of men to do, because men are in an emergency situation in this country. Even since the pandemic, I mentioned this in one of my segments, summer sessions. Since the pandemic, men of color, our suicidal attempts have risen 36%.
So kind of along those lines, because you did mention earlier that for Black men especially, the areas where you can be vulnerable are generally with people that you don't know. So when we come forward after checking out news and sports, we're going to talk a little bit more about finding those communities or those areas where Black men can share and make those connections, but still keep a little bit of their, Black men thing, the little flavor. We're going to talk about all of that and more. You're checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ups and downs, the joys and hurts, love, for better or worse, I still will choose you first. Many days I've longed for you, wanting you, hoping for the chance to get to know you, longing for your kiss.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The House panel investigating the origins of COVID-19 is focusing on a 2020 paper that concludes the virus did not come from a lab leak. Republicans have claimed the paper was used as a cover-up by top health officials to dismiss the lab leak theory. Advocacy groups are calling for a federal investigation into New Jersey State Police internal practices. New Jersey's NAACP Director Richard Smith says the department has a long-standing history of internal bias, which has resulted in 17 discrimination lawsuits. Amtrak service remains suspended along parts of the East Coast after 2 cars derailed at Union Station in Washington, D.C. Services are on hold between D.C. and Richmond, Virginia. After this morning's incident, no injuries were reported. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Don't let a traffic accident ruin your day. Visit fixautousa.com to find the nearest Fix Auto location. Their highly trained and certified technicians will have you back on the road in no time. You have a choice on who fixes your vehicle. Tell your insurance agent that you want to go to Fix Auto.
Black Lives Matters turns 10, and KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to be the exclusive media partner of the People's Justice Festival. This Saturday, July 15th, 12 to 6 p.m. in Leimert Park. Come join us as we celebrate the life-saving and history-making work of Black Lives Matter to help bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice. There will be live music performances, a children's village, giveaways, vendors, a healing justice space, Skillshare, and amazing speakers including Green Party presidential candidate Dr. Cornel West, live on stage at 4:30 p.m. For more information, go to blmgrassroots.org. That's www.blmgrassroots.org. Dominique DePrima and Tavis Smiley will be main stage hosts throughout the day, and the KBLA Talk 1580 delegation will be out in full force. So, join us this Saturday, July 15th, 12 to 6 p.m. in Leimert Park as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of Black Lives Matter. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I done plant my seeds, now I'm rooted. Brown skin popping, I'm rooted. Can pull the hood out me, I'm rooted. Rooted, nappy head, rooted.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like watering your lawn during the hottest time of the day and leaky faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
Are you looking to steer your career in a new direction? Driving for Culver City Bus can be your ticket to a long-lasting career with excellent benefits and paid training. Culver City Bus is looking for customer service and safety-minded bus operators to join the growing team. Culver City Bus offers on-the-job training starting at $19.10 per hour, uniform allowance, and health benefits. Culver City Bus is a great employer. Let Culver City Bus connect you with an essential service job. If you enjoy driving, seek real opportunities for career advancement, and passionate about making a difference in the community, then you are invited to join the Culver City Bus team. Start your journey today by submitting an application at culvercity.org/jobs. For more info, visit culvercitybus.com or call live customer service operators at 310-253-6500.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay, Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm James Alexander, a proud member of AARP. 1967, I was 17. That spring, my friends, the Barcades, and I made Soulfinger. It was a hit. Number 3 on the charts. That summer, we became the great Otis Redding's band. First gig, the famed Apollo. That fall, we toured. That winter found me in a morgue identifying the bodies of my bandmates and Otis Redding. My music and their memories bring me joy. The Barcades, forever.
What would you call a joy that is as solemn as it is sweet and knows no bounds? A joy that's beautifully rooted in soul and resilience. This is Black Joy, a joy that reflects pride and honor despite every challenge. AARP believes the power of Black joy is limitless, and we celebrate this joy supreme. Join us in celebrating Black joy at aarp.org/blackcommunity.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Okay. We're taking it down the right way, right? This night is amazing, and it's, going out on a great note. A little Gap Band for us, yearning for your love. Shout out to Uncle Charlie. We are here with Eric Ashton Spooner. Eric, so you're a singer. What type of music do you do? Like, is it in this religious, spiritual sector, or is it secular? What's that part of you?
It's so interesting. If anybody pulls up my name right now on Spotify, Apple Music, all you find is pop and R&B music right now.
Okay.
But I do sing, of course, gospel music, which I grew up singing, and was really on the track to have a professional career in gospel music at one point. And then I went through that period, that transitional period, and the music changed. But I still, of course, sing gospel music for sure. I have some songs that I'm preparing now for later this year to come out that are inspirational, But if you go to, Apple or right now, you'll find basically pop, dance, R&B, so yeah.
So I know some people, like we mentioned it earlier, that there is, some people feel conflicted when they maybe grew up in the church and take that venture out into the secular side. Did you ever feel any of that, or do you ever feel as if, well, I made this many pop songs or this many, R&B tracks, maybe I need to come back home so that I'm maintaining that balance? Is that something you ever work with, or you just go with what feels right in the moment?
For me personally, I never dealt with that because for so long it was only gospel. In my transition, even the music, the pop and R&B music that you'll find that I have out right now, it's still inspirational. Like, it's still feel-good inspirational music. There's nothing about it that would make you turn a bad eye. You know what I mean? So for me, I don't feel anything about it because I know that it's genuine. Like, all of it's genuine and pure. So even the pop and R&B stuff is like, I have a song called Your Kind. It's a perfect relationship song about relationships, people meeting each other for the first time and falling in love with each other. It's just a relationship song. It's beautiful. So no, I don't have that issue.
You don't have that. You don't go.
No.
Well, that's good. So your birthday is coming up this weekend. You mentioned you're going to be celebrating with your brother. Cancer in the house. So what are you guys going to get into? How does a spiritually grounded person turn up? Because you're allowed to turn up. So what is that like? What is that?
You know what? I'm the type of person, I have to be pushed into. I have to be, I need somebody to kind of like, come on, Eric, come on, let's do it.
Is that what your brother is there?
He would probably do that.
Okay.
Like, he would be the person to be like, okay, maybe let's go to, Hollywood, or let's go to downtown. Let's go to this event. I don't know where we're going to end up. But yeah, I'm accepting all gifts. Anybody want to send gifts? Hey, look.
Send Cash App, anything.
Whatever.
You can tip on Reels now. All of that.
All of it. Yeah.
So, okay, kind of rolling it back just a tad bit. If you could give the gift of wisdom, right?
Yeah.
To not saying that black men aren't wise, so let me make sure I choose my words carefully, because that's not where I'm going with this. But the gift of wisdom as far as knowing self or peace to black men, what area would you focus it on? Because I think that there's so many different areas that we can talk about as far as it relates to mental health and black men. And, we've discussed some of them tonight, but there are levels to this. There are layers, and some require more emergency situations than others. Mm-hmm. So where would you focus your efforts?
I think as a foundational principle, I think that I know we're speaking specifically to black men, but this is universal, what I'm about to say. I think as a foundational principle for self, I think is you have to establish a true knowing of your identity.
You said that a couple of times tonight. What does that mean?
I think the identity piece, for Eric, for me, my identity is I'm fully aware of who I am in every dimension, spiritually, spirit, soul, and body. I'm fully aware that my identity came from God. I'm alive, breathing today because I have purpose and destiny on this earth at this time in this season to live, breathe, and spread what I'm doing now. I'm supposed to do that. My identity is to carry that light and to carry those messages and to carry that wisdom and to impact souls and lives with that on a daily basis. That's who I am. I think that there's a struggle with a lot of men with your identity when your father or your grandfather or the men in your life didn't know their identity in a lot of ways.
Okay.
When they don't know their identity, and then you're raised in that atmosphere, now you're in a struggle to find yours. And so that's what I think happened with a lot of men that ended up in gangs or, going, attaching themselves to friends that were going down the wrong roads. They ended up in prison or, in juvenile detention centers or whatever life threw at them, through all the circumstances, whether it was racism or discrimination or poverty or whatever it was. At the core, I think that when the father is in the home and the father is there to raise the son and raise the children, and they have that foundation that he's telling them, this is who you are. You always remember who you are. That's a strength that never leaves you. You know what I mean? And so I think that for me personally, I can't speak for everyone else, but I can definitely speak for myself in knowing that I know who I am in Christ, in God, because he is my father. He's the one who created me and made me who I am today. He's the one who mentored me when everybody else rejected me. He was the one who made sure that I became this person. So identity is the foundation of everything.
So let me ask you, because we talked about your mother and obviously, you know, her being a teacher, a spiritual advisor, setting a stage. Obviously, you wrote a whole workbook, right? So that is something that has been in her for quite some time. How do you sort of reset yourself? Because, you know, we all don't start with perfect situations, but that doesn't mean that we have to stay where we started from. So how do you go about sort of addressing those deficiencies, or, you know, learning to love yourself in spite of, you know, maybe not getting it all right now, and still, you know, love yourself through the process, I guess, of learning?
I think that we're all born with the innate knowledge that we are worth or deserving of something. And I think at the core level for all of us, it's just love. I think that love is the ingredient, or that feeling, that desire, that reality that thrust all of us into life, and we go after our dreams and our visions in life and our pursuits in life. And so with that innate knowledge of self, of that I deserve love, that all human beings have, no matter what circumstance that you grew up in, whether it was poverty or whatever disaster that you could have grown up in, something inside of you says, I want better at some point. I deserve better, and I'm going after better. Something inside of you, no matter what your circumstances were in life, is going to say that to yourself. If you actually want to live, it's going to say, you know what, I want to live a better life. And so you take the course and the journey at that point of pursuing that better life.
I know that's right. When we come forward, we will have more with Eric Ashton Spooner. I know that you appreciate this conversation as much as I have, VIPs. And we're going to remind you where you can catch up with Eric and get a couple of more tips before we let him go for the evening. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hollywood Walk of Fame stars in 2024. Stay tuned to find out who's in next year's class. I'm Aisha Cairo with your K-Black Minute News. A new group of 31 entertainment professionals across film, television, radio, recording, and sports entertainment will have their names etched into Hollywood's history in 2024. One of the most celebrated names on the list was the beloved Chadwick Boseman. Others for the class of 2024 in Hollywood Walk of Fame was this year's Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh in the motion picture category. Other notable names include Chris Pine, Gwen Stefani, Andre, Dr. Dre, Young, Otis Redding, Christina Ricci, Brandy Norwood, Harry Washington, and more. The dates for the stars ceremonies have not yet been scheduled. To find out all 31 inductees, visit youtube.com/Walk of Fame. Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire, or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-381-8528 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-381-8528. That's 800-381-8528. What do you have to lose? Call 800-381-8528. Again, 800-381-8528.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are checking out RSVP with me and my guest for tonight, Eric Ashton Spooner, host of the Champion of Your Soul podcast. And it talks about community, empowerment, spirituality, men's health, all sorts of things. But what I also want to mention is we talked a bit about you being an actor. We haven't talked about your relationship with Porsche. That's kind of exciting. That's kind of different. You touch on so many areas. Talk to me a little bit about your relationship with Porsche, how that came about, and what you do with them.
So with Porsche, I've been working with Porsche now for...
See, I said Porsche. I should be saying Porsche.
Yeah, you know.
Technically, you got to get it right. That's what it means when you're with someone who is an ambassador of the brand.
Yeah, I could never be caught anywhere red-handed saying Porsche around Porsche. You know what I mean? It's Porsche. But no, I've been working with them now for 5 years, and I do some travel work with them where we go to all of their marketing events or launch events and represent the brand. Have to know a lot about the vehicles because there's a lot of Porsche enthusiasts out there who drive. Los Angeles actually is Porsche's largest selling market in the United States.
Okay.
So there's no other city in the United States that sells more Porsches than Los Angeles. And so there's a lot of things going on here, but there's a lot of things going everywhere for Porsche.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Legacy brand. So you are an actor, spokesperson, mental health advocate. Which role do you think, if you had to pick one, like let's say God said, not that he would because God doesn't believe in limits, but if he did, for the rest of the year, you can only focus on this area or this thing, what would it be for you?
Ooh, that's a hard one right there. Honestly, what I feel now, I really want to take this subject that we're talking about, as in particular men's mental health and spirituality, just the transparency of it all. I really want to see it make it to television, and or at least a streaming platform of some sort, because it's, you know, I can't emphasize how much men need these conversations to happen. And not just in the Black community, but worldwide. This needs to happen, you know. And so I would love to, during the break, I told you a little bit about, I will stay quiet about it.
Right.
One of the projects
Things.
I'm working on. But I would love to see that particular project make it to a streaming platform or television. Yeah.
Okay. So outside of what we know we can catch you at, where can we hear you sing? Where can we take in some of your acting work? What about the other aspects of Eric? Where can we get to? I know that if we follow you on social media, we'll know what's coming up. But
Yes.
Where can we see some of these other sides of you?
Honestly, I have been putting myself into, taping the summer sessions for Men's Mental Health. I still do auditions from time to time. But like I said, I really see myself just doing more television or something in the streaming space. What that will actually turn out to be, I'm not completely sure if it's like a talk show or if it's something, I don't know. But I have a lot to say. And so, as we see here,
we had a great conversation,
So I have a lot to say. And so I just want to get more into those areas where my strengths are. Auditioning for different roles and things that may come up. Those are great. Hopefully I'll, book some of those. That's great. I am going to be working on some of that music that I mentioned earlier. Okay. That'll be dropping later in the year. And that's about it.
Do you see yourself ever kind of transitioning away from in front of the camera as far as an actor or performer to maybe more so being behind the scenes or putting together these sort of projects in that aspect? Or do you think that your message is more impactful when they can see you on both sides?
I think I could definitely see myself moving behind the scenes. I'm the type of person. I'm definitely on in front of the camera type person. However, I am definitely a behind the scenes person as well because I'm a visionary. And when you're a visionary, you can see what it should look like, so you can direct and write and produce as well. So yeah, I could see myself doing those things as well for sure.
Well, Eric, I want to thank you for joining me this evening for this conversation. It has been amazing.
Definitely.
Tell us once again, Champion of Your Soul is the podcast.
Yes.
Tell us once again where we can find you on social media, what the YouTube channel is. We need all the deets.
So I definitely want everyone to go to YouTube and subscribe to Champion of Your Soul. So I'm going to be posting all of those summer sessions on that page. Definitely subscribe to us. It's a new platform. Subscribe, like, share, all of that. Champion of Your Soul on Apple, Spotify, podcast. And, of course, on Instagram, find me at Eric Ashton Spooner. Come and follow me. Send me those messages, and I'll be posting there as well. And thank you so much, Jill.
Oh, my God. Thank you. It's an amazing conversation. The VIPs in the chat were enthused about it. We got phone calls. So that means everyone's locked in. And don't worry, Eric will be back because this conversation was too amazing not to. So I know that there were a lot of topics that I said I was going to cover tonight, and I got deep in the conversation with Eric. We will definitely revisit some of them tomorrow. One of which I want to put you guys up on game really quick. Tomorrow is the deadline for the Screen Actors Guild to decide whether they are going to go on strike. Now, I know that seems like rich people problems, but understand that is going to impact your entertainment viewing. That's why you should make sure that you subscribe to Eric's YouTube channel, because you're going to need something to watch, because this new content, we're going to run out of it kind of quickly. So there's a lot going on. Some of the things that members of the Screen Actors Guild won't be able to do should the strike go through. They obviously cannot participate in any productions or whatever that are SAG affiliated. They cannot promote any of these things. So that means no interviews that pertain to their projects. So if you've seen all, like, for example, the push for the Barbie movie, that's because the movie comes out after the deadline. So in theory, the cast wouldn't have been able to do anything. And they have a lot of money banked on that. So don't look for your favorites to be doing a lot of interviews. They're going to have to stick and move their way around that. They also don't want them posting on social media regarding any projects. How that works out, like past things, can you talk about it? Probably not really, but I think that some of your entertainment factors are going to go down a little bit. They're fighting. This strike is probably going to last quite some time. They're very far apart on a lot of issues. Obviously, we're probably into day 110 of the Writers Guild strike. So be prepared for a lot of reality TV and docuseries, a whole bunch. But also, this is the time frame where you can catch up on those shows that you always wanted to watch, didn't have time to. You can catch up on the Champion of Your Soul podcast. You can watch previous episodes of RSVP to get all filled in. But just know that things are going to be changing tomorrow, so I want you to be prepared. Tomorrow night, we will get more into these other sports stories that we had bubbling, and we also will have a guest. Trent, the artist, will be in the building to kick hot topics with me. We love talking to Trent always, and we'll talk a little bit about Peak TV. And we'll talk about a new Notorious B.I.G. documentary that's coming out from the perspective of his son. All that and more when you check in with RSVP with Jill Munroe. I want to thank you guys for rocking out with us tonight. For Eric Ashton Spooner for being here. Make sure you follow him, like, subscribe, comment. He said that you could hop in his DMs if you want to have a conversation or you want to be featured. Take advantage of that. You don't get those offers too often. When we come forward, the next voice that you will hear will be the best of KBLA. This is Jill Munroe, RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
To give back to life what tore you apart. You have the right to live and be free, accepting the love you give and receive. All that your heartbeat longs to believe, your deepest dream. When you speak.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for sharing a part of your